Greetings and hello, everyone. This is Paul the Poke from paulthepoke.com. Sadly, I'm coming to you again this evening. As of about 45 minutes ago, we had Russian President Vladimir Putin making a public address. I guess it'd be close to an hour ago. It would have been 5:50 in the morning Russian time. Putin launches special military operation. At that time, Russian President Vladimir Putin has delivered an emergency speech to the people of Russia. These are kind of the highlights of the speech. This special operation is aimed to protect people. President Putin recommended Ukrainian servicemen who lay down their arms will be able to return to their families. And the goal of this operation is to quote is the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine. This is frankly kind of particularly chilling. Made this comment as well. A couple of words for those who would be tempted to intervene. Russia will respond immediately, and you will have consequences that you've never had before in your history. Again, that's Russian President Vladimir Putin. Literally within minutes of this speech being concluded, multiple sources are reporting explosions in the capital of Kiev and throughout Ukraine. Oil prices are going up. Some reports have oil going over $100 a barrel already. It'd probably be Brent C crude. Gold's going up. Stock markets around the world are dropping. I'm just going to give you a little bit of the lay of the land here. I've got a map of Ukraine. Relying on a lot of data from Checkmate as well as some others. I've heard explosions are reported down in the southwest in Odessa. Also in Mariupol. I've heard explosions. Now, this is the Sea of Azov, and Russia had sealed this off last night. So it really comes as no surprise that they took aim on a city here on the port in Ukraine. Also heard Kharkiv is being hit as well as Kiev. And those were the four that I've heard. Of course, this is all developing. This has only been going on for less than an hour. Going to have all kinds of reports of things taking place. The main purpose of this post is just to provide people with some resources. If you're interested in chasing some of this stuff down on your own, seeing what's going on. Best early article was out of Daily Mail out of the UK. Just give you a little bit of a flavor of what they're saying. Explosions rock Kiev moments after Putin orders invasion. Wants to demilitarize. I won't read that. Not occupy, just demilitarize. Lay down your arms. Ukrainian President Zelensky has vowed the Ukrainian people will fight back. The rebel leaders, we covered this earlier this evening, have asked Putin for military assistance to fend off Ukrainian aggression. Move fueled fears that he would use this as a request and an excuse. Use this request as an excuse to launch a full-scale invasion. It appears that's taking place at this point. In the West and NATO, they're not going to commit troops. They are willing to commit weapons and going to provide some tougher sanctions. I don't know how much good that's going to do because he's moving forward, but just he being Putin is moving forward. I'm not going to get into all of this. This would be something if you guys want to read in depth, get like a brief history. Now, they do have some live streaming and footage showing some of these towns in the Ukraine. You can physically see some of these things going, just streaming cameras in different cities throughout Ukraine. Russian armored vehicles. Rostov-on-Don region, and I can tell you where that's at. That's located right down here. That's in Russia. Would appear they're ready to move. Soften this up. and move in with a bunch of tanks. And that's what a lot of people think is going to happen. Some of the experts who follow this sort of stuff, you're going to see some air power and shelling, and then move in with artillery. And this would be the region they're talking about down here in the southeast, just southeast of Ukraine, Sea of Azov. There's President Zelensky, his speech. Highly recommend this. If you want to hear what he has to say, have captioning. Boris Johnson, briefed by Chief of Defense Staff Admiral Sertoni Radican at the Ministry of Defense on the situation in Ukraine. That would have been yesterday, Tuesday. Putin's comments, again, captioning provided. Daily Mail has some great graphics. Just lay these types of things out. As far as, now these were projections about what they thought would happen. But if you're interested in maps and the lay of where troops are located as best as they can tell, and I've seen estimates now, they got troops up to 200,000 troops in and around Ukraine, pretty much surrounding Ukraine everywhere, with the exception of in this area on the Polish border. And I'd wrap that around even to Romania, parts of Hungary, Slovakia. But there are Russian troops in Moldova, it's old Soviet Republic. Odessa port's a very important port. Concern with Odessa, that's a big distribution for commodities, and some speculate the price of wheat will go sky high if Russia gets control of that and seals off Ukrainian exports of wheat. Big concern there. But if I want to go a little bit further down here, that's frozen for whatever reason. Apologize for the pause, the pregnant pause, unresponsive. Well, this site's probably getting crashed right now, would be my guess. So, lots of things going on. Move over here quickly to futures. See oil right around $95 a barrel. I'd be interested to see if that's Brent C or Brent crude futures pushing $97 a barrel. That's the price of oil in Europe. United States crude, West Texas crude futures, $95 a barrel. Also gold, this chart on gold going straight up. We're watching that pop up to $19.33 an ounce effectively, continues to go up. And this is 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern. Who knows what this is going to look like when we get up in the morning, depending on what happens while we sleep. And, we got this back. Cool. I'll continue to scroll down off of Daily Mail. Russia's envoy has some comments if you're interested in those. Again, more layouts. This is more or less a history of what's happened in the last 2 to 3 days in eastern Ukraine, Luhansk, Donetsk, the Donbass region down here in the eastern part of Ukraine. Again, more troops in the Rostov region. A lot of them. Holy cow. I mean, that's crazy. Again, in the Rostov-on-Don, southern Russia, close to the front line with Ukraine. Seem to have a lot of things staged there. That's where all this stuff is. They got pictures of it anyway. But again, the main thing is just to point out some resources where you could look and find some stuff, interesting stuff. I'll take a chance on this with Twitter. This is the Wild West. Need some vetting when you go through some of this stuff. It's fluid. You got some embedded reporters. you're going to read all kinds of stuff. I recommend Jason Brodsky does a nice job summarizing things. BNO News, and this is consistent. Now, this has actually got more stars on it than it did about 45 minutes ago. So this would be Russian attacks being reported across Ukraine. So pretty much on the river. It looks like they want to divide Ukraine with the river and control the ports is just the initial observation. Amphibious landing potential. This would be from Elent News. U.S. officials looking at a potential amphibious landing by Russian forces in Odessa. Again, that would be on the Black Sea in the southwest portion. That's this little star down in here. 1 hour. I picked up on this one. This is the first thing that caught my eyes. I'd seen a tweet by Senator Marco Rubio. And, well, he's been putting more stuff up. This is even more recent. Russians' airborne forces are attempting to take control of the airport in Kiev, sending flying forces to occupy the capital city. So, I might I just check, see what he's been putting up. This could be interesting. A series of tweets. Okay. Russian aircraft are now en route to conduct additional targeted strikes on a number of key defense sites through all of Ukraine. Establish an air superiority via targeted surgical strikes. Pincer movement to trap Ukraine forces in the east and cut them off from Kiev. Decapitate Ukrainian government by targeting government buildings, leaders, command and control systems. Also keep in mind they've had some massive cyber attacks throughout the last couple of days that have taken place throughout Ukraine, attacking government websites. Russia's airbornes, we covered that one. So he's dropping intelligence on the internet. This is kind of interesting. People of Ukraine are tough people who will never accept being ruled by Putin. Men, women, children, elderly, they're going to fight and they're going to maim and kill a lot of Russians. This is going to be ugly and bloody and frankly pretty sad. He laid out the plan from about an hour ago when Putin was giving his speech. Conduct airstrikes, which is what we're seeing now. Move to cut off Kiev. Move to cut off Ukraine's military forces on the line of contact in the east to prevent them falling back to defend Kiev. Explosions heard in the vicinity. Mariupol, that was on the Sea of Azov. Again, that was this area right here. Odessa is another port city being attacked. Let's see. And then 2 hours ago, he was speaking on Fox. So he has been updating intelligence information, it would appear, on his tweet stream. He might be an interesting follow during some of this. So anyhow, I could go on probably for a long time, but the main thing is looking to provide some resources. Whoops, wrong button. Let's go here. Give you some of the ideas. Christopher Miller, he's an embed journalist with BuzzFeed, has some very interesting reporting, things that he's seeing on the ground. This is one of the guys you probably want to pray for. He's embedded with Ukrainian troops. H.I. Sutton at Covert Shores, defense analyst, does a really nice job of following naval assets. Rob Lee, PhD student, previously Marine Corps. Focus on Russian defense policies. Learned a lot from this guy. Intel Sky, aircraft tracker, image analyst, conflict news. Another great resource. Christians out here recommend this guy in the name of Jesus at Shelty Man 3. Jason Brodsky, World News out of Israel. I got some crypto stuff. Hezbollah Watch, Aurora Intel, Elent News. I'm an Okie, Paul the Poke. Reed Timmer's great. He chases storms. Matthew Van Dyke, Sons of Liberty, great guy. Also, all Israel news, all Arab news, Israeli Air Force, Israeli defense. But at any rate, those are some of the things I followed. Try to keep up with this. Also, recommend Live View a Map. It's real live streaming information. They take news in from social media platforms. You got to vet that stuff very closely. Some of it may or may not be accurate. Just beware. Al Monitor out of the Middle East, Pulse on the Middle East. RT, I do listen to what the Russians have to say, whether it's from RT or Sputnik. And let's see, some financial stuff. So at any rate, hopefully that's of some use and benefit to you folks. And I'm sure we'll be in touch. Lots of things happening as we speak. And, probably a lot of false information flying around out there. Take some time for the fog to settle and we understand what's actually taking place, but it does appear pretty certainly that Russia has announced a, quote, special military operation, and they are moving forward into Ukraine. Gold's $1,930 an ounce. We got oil futures. They're settling down a little bit around $95, maybe a spike. We'll see. Futures are off around the planet with stocks and equities. So appreciate you guys following along. Sure we'll be in touch moving forward. Take care. Pray for these folks in Ukraine and Russia. There are Christian folks there. They're just people there. And that's not good. Some folks are just, they're innocent victims in all of this. And, and Jesus said there will be wars and rumors of wars, and these things, they're going to have to come to pass, and that's part of it. It's not to say our prayers, we can't have prayer. God will intercede and oblige. Doesn't have to, but he can and has done that in the past. But we also know what Scripture says about wars and rumors of wars. And unfortunately, these things must come to pass. And this is only the beginning. So, at any rate, we'll be in touch. Do keep in mind, this is not to scare people. This is not about fear porn. The idea is to inform. And we were told these things from the prophets so we would know. We would know. And when we see these things begin to pass, look up. Your redemption draws near. Have a good evening. Bye.